So when you hear the term CNC operator, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of people, it's this image of someone just standing there, pushing a green button over and over. But let me tell you, that stereotype is completely off. It's miles away from what this skilled profession is actually all about. Okay, let's dive into what it truly means to be a modern CNC operator.
And this quote really just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? A professional operator? Well, they're the direct link between a digital design and a real, physical, high-quality part. You could say they're the guardians of the machine, the process, and of course, the final product.
To really wrap our heads around the role, we're going to build what I like to call the pyramid of mastery. We'll kick things off at the base with the core responsibilities, then climb up through the non-negotiables like safety and the machine's language, and finally, we'll reach the very peak with the true craft of precision.
So what is that true responsibility? Well, it's all about taking a complex digital plan and making it real, and doing it accurately, repeatably, and most importantly, safely. The operator is the person on the front lines, the one protecting incredibly expensive machinery, valuable tooling, and the whole production schedule from some really costly errors.
And this requires a surprisingly broad set of skills. I mean, we're talking a deep understanding of safety, the logic behind coordinate systems, how different tools behave under pressure, meticulous quality control, and even basic maintenance, and really clear communication. It is a multifaceted role, for sure.
All right, let's move to the absolute foundation of our pyramid, safety. And I want to be crystal clear, this isn't just a suggestion. It's the non-negotiable bedrock of the entire profession. Before a single chip gets cut, a safe environment is priority number one, period.
And that safety journey starts with personal protective equipment. Safety glasses, proper footwear, that's a given. But here's what's really interesting, the critical distinction with gloves. Yeah, they're essential for handling raw material, but they become a massive entanglement hazard near a spinning tool. So knowing when not to wear them is just as important as knowing when you should.
An operator is constantly managing an environment filled with active hazards. We're talking razor-sharp metal chips flying at insane speeds, the very real risk of a tool just shattering or a heavy workpiece coming loose. It takes constant awareness and vigilance.
And this is exactly where formal procedures like lockout/tagout or LOTO become critical. If an operator needs to clean out the machine or do some maintenance, just hitting the stop button isn't nearly enough. LOTO is a rigorous process that absolutely guarantees the machine is de-energized and cannot restart unexpectedly. It's a literal lifesaver.
Okay, with safety firmly established, we can climb up our pyramid to the next level, understanding how to actually communicate with the machine itself. This is all about speaking its language. Now, one of the most fundamental concepts here is understanding the difference between machine and work coordinates. Think of it this way. The machine coordinate system is like the permanent street address of the building. It never changes. But the work coordinate system, often set using codes like G54, that's like the specific apartment number for the job you're on right now. You have to tell the machine exactly where the part is located inside its workspace.
And getting that location wrong? Oh, it's a huge deal. We're talking about machine crashes that can easily cost tens of thousands of dollars in repairs and downtime. In fact, what's wild is that the vast majority of these expensive, damaging crashes boil down to just 3 simple errors.
And there they are. Notice how they're all directly related to what we just talked about? Picking the wrong work offset is like sending the tool to the wrong apartment building. An incorrect tool length or Z reference, well, that tells the machine the tool is shorter or longer than it actually is. Any one of these can lead to a direct, catastrophic collision. So mastering coordinates is mastering machine safety.
This also means you need a basic literacy in G-code. Operators don't have to be expert programmers, but they absolutely must be able to read the code to verify it. Can they look at it and spot where the first cut is going to happen? Can they confirm the right work offset is being called? This validation step is a critical final check before ever thinking about hitting that cycle start button.
All right, let's climb to the next level of our pyramid. This is where we bridge the gap between the digital plan and the physical world. It's all about the setup, the tooling, and executing the job safely. Everything starts with the engineering drawing, the blueprint. A skilled operator can look at this and see way more than just the basic dimensions. They understand the critical tolerances that define a good part from a bad one. They know exactly which features need to be checked during the process to make sure everything stays perfectly in spec. And this is a perfect example of how the physical setup directly impacts the final result, your tool choice, and how you hold it.
It's huge. If a tool sticks out too far, it's going to vibrate, leaving a terrible finish. And if an operator keeps running a dull, worn-out tool, they're not saving time, they're just making a piled expensive scrap.
So, professionals follow a very methodical process to manage these risks. First, they verify everything. Then they run the program in the air, a dry run, to watch the tool path and make sure it looks right. They approach the part carefully, one line of code at a time, and only after that first part is made, they perform a rigorous inspection to ensure it meets every single requirement on that blueprint.
And that brings us to the very top of our pyramid, the craft of precision. This is where experience, sharp senses, and professional discipline come together to transform a good operator into a truly great one.
A huge part of this is mastering the tools of measurement. I mean, sure, anyone can read a number off a caliper, but a professional? They know how to use it with a repeatable technique, how to account for things like the temperature of the part, and how to make sure surfaces are clean to get a truly accurate reading every single time.
This right here is where an operator becomes a detective. They're listening to the sound of the cut, they're watching the chips. If they see chatter marks on a part, they don't just scrap it. They start thinking through these likely causes. Is the tool sticking out too far? Is the part held securely? They diagnose the problem and they fix the process. Ultimately, what defines an expert is professional discipline. It's about communicating issues clearly to the programmers. It's about documenting every little change you make. And, maybe most importantly, it's about having the wisdom to just slow down and minimize risk whenever there's even a hint of uncertainty.
So we end with this question. In a world that's sprinting towards more and more automation, the role of the CNC operator really shows us the irreplaceable value of human skill, the ability to listen, to troubleshoot, and to apply disciplined judgment. Yeah, it's a whole lot more than just pressing a button.